Whoa, what's going on? I'm not wearing a vest today. Don't worry. The vest is right here in my heart. Welcome to Vest Top 5. I'm Vest Guy, your host. This is a show designed for all you dipshits, hobos, pretty much everyone who just stays at home, jerks off, and plays this video in the background or not really pay attention to what I'm saying. It's okay. You know who you are. Or maybe you're the type of guy, very honest, hard-working, blue collar, white collar, doesn't matter the color of your shirt, but the type of guy who's probably arguing with his wife. She's telling you, why the fuck are you watching that Pauly Shore loving ass show? You know what you have to do when it comes to that. You have to divorce her ass. Anyway, today we're going to talk about America's favorite sweetheart. And that is Bruce motherfucking Willis. Bruce Willis. Once upon a time, this guy was loved by many. He made so many great movies. Die Hard, Hudson Hawk. Maybe I'm the only one who likes Hudson Hawk. But hey, number one fan. So, the thing is that now, the guy no longer makes good movies. Most of his movies are pretty terrible. And I've seen a lot of them. There's the rip-off of John Wick known as Once Upon a Time in Venice. There's another rip-off of Taken. I don't even remember the title. It's not important. Let's do an honorable mention, or in this case, a dishonorable mention by talking about Cop Out, a film that wasn't written by Kevin Smith, but he directed it. And he talks about how disastrous the filming of this movie was. He had such a hard time filming this movie that he ended up doing a lot of presentations where he talks about it. There's even DVDs where he goes in depth into how poorly the movie came out to be because Bruce Willis didn't want to do a lot of his lines. And it's a shame. Here's an example of, one little brief example of what he said in one of his, he said it in a podcast, but he said it also in front of a live audience. He said, imagine, this didn't really happen, but if it did happen, that he goes up to Bruce Willis after a couple of people pass by in this big truck yelling, "Yo, Bruce, I have all your movies, all 4 Die Hards, Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, Die Hard 3, and Die Hard 4. So they all pass by, and Bruce is just chilling there. Kevin Smith comes over, and he goes, "Yo, man, it's gonna feel great, right?" Bruce looks up to Kevin and says, "I hate the ones that scream Die Hard loudest the most." And Kevin was like, whoa, like his heart sank. But I made Clerks like 15 years ago, and people come up to me and I feel happy about it. And imagine, if you will, this didn't really happen, but if it did, that Bruce Willis looks up to Kevin with the most disgusting face like, the fuck did you just say to me? And gets up and leaves. So this guy doesn't care about his fans, he doesn't care about anybody, all he cares about is his paycheck. But back in the 80s, early 90s, this guy dominated the box office. While all the movies in this list are in the 80s and 90s, there is one movie in this list, which is, I would consider his comeback, his only comeback, and probably the only movie you're gonna have ever where Bruce Willis actually cared about his role. And that movie is Looper, released in 2012, directed by Rian Johnson, who you better know as a director of The Last Jedi. Before he did that movie, he did Looper, a really good science fiction movie. Not since Inception have I seen such an innovative, smart film. Sure, the movie has plot holes here and there. You're gonna run across those plot holes when you're doing a time travel film. But Bruce Willis does a great job playing this guy who is brought back from the future into the past to be killed by his younger self. And I'll leave it at there because if I reveal too much, it's gonna get too complicated. Even the character played by Bruce Willis says that if we stay here talking about time travel, we're gonna get confused. We're not gonna get anywhere. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a younger version of Bruce Willis. He does a great job. They do a really neat prosthetic that makes him look just like Bruce Willis. And he even takes some of his cadences with the typical half smile and the way he walks. Even though Bruce Willis didn't look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt when he was younger, he was always a bit more bulkier and not so slim. It still kind of works when you look at them both in the screen. I really like this movie. It's a great science fiction film. Try to stay away from trailers. Try to stay away from any spoilers. This is a movie that's worth watching and paying attention to. So number 4, we're going into the film now that he did in the 90s, when he really cared. And the performance he gave in this film is just as good as what he gave in the movie Looper. And that is 12 Monkeys, released in 1995. Maybe you're more familiar with the TV show revival of 12 Monkeys that came out probably last year. And I saw some episodes. It's actually pretty decent, but you have to watch the original film, which is directed by Terry Gilliam. The movie tells a story of a virus that destroys almost half of the population. And the only way that humanity can survive is by sending someone back in time to prevent so-called virus from taking over of humanity. and they take an inmate, played by Bruce Willis, back in time to find how this virus came to be. Problem is that he's sent way too early back in time, so when he goes to warn people, they think he's crazy. So he's put in an asylum with Brad Pitt, and he has to convince all these people that he is not insane, that he is actually warning people of an upcoming virus. Very well written. I really enjoy this movie, and you can actually see that Bruce cared about the character that he's playing. When you actually see it all in his eyes, but sadly, this type of role will never come to be in any of his other films other than in Looper. So check out 12 Monkeys. You can find this on Blu-ray. I'm not sure if it's available in any streaming services, but if you come across it, please check it out. Number 3, we have a movie that was directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Ding Dong. M. Night Shyamalan. I just wanted to say that name. Anyway, so M. Night Shyamalan directed The Sixth Sense, and that's my number 3. The Sixth Sense is a movie that many would put higher on their list, and I've revisited this movie over the years. It's still a very good, effective thriller. I've never considered this movie a complete horror film. I consider it more of a mystery thriller. And by now, everyone knows the twist. I'm not going to say it, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows it. So this movie, when you're watching it, even though all the cinematography is great, there's a lot of hidden things with the color red. Bruce Willis' performance is very, very good. Like, his performance alone guides you through this movie where you don't know that he is, in fact, spoilers, he's dead. So, and I said I wasn't going to say it, but I had to say it. The movie's been out since 1999, give me a break. So, the movie, sure, it relies heavily on the twist, but I'm putting it on this list because Bruce Willis' performance is magnificent. The guy really shows his emotions. Try to watch one of his new movies like The Prince, which was direct to video. The guy shows no emotion whatsoever. He only has one face, and it's this. I'm serious. Whereas in The Sixth Sense, he shows layers. I don't know if it's the fact that he is getting older or is that some directors get more out of him. Who knows? But M. Night Shyamalan managed to get all the right emotions into this film. And this brings me into my number 2, another film directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and that is Unbreakable. Unbreakable came out literally a year after The Sixth Sense, and it's an underrated gem. This movie did not get the appreciation it should have gotten at the time. Now more people know it because of the film Split and the subsequent movie that's going to be coming out soon called Glass. But back when this movie came out, I saw it and I loved it and I still do, and I would say this is actually better than The Sixth Sense. Even Bruce Willis' performance is superior because it's not just a story of a guy who is dead and figures out that he's dead. In Unbreakable, it's a guy who is slowly figuring out that he may be a superhero. It sounds ludicrous in a thriller, drama kind of film, but M. Night Shyamalan's direction and writing makes this probably one of the most realistic superhero films ever told. And Bruce Willis' performance is an extra layer to that story that I can't see anybody else playing the part. And that's why it's a number 2. But I really wanted to put this at number 1, but there is one film that has to be a number 1. It's a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody fucking says. This movie is a Christmas movie. Or actually a Christmas Eve movie because it takes place on Christmas Eve. But it doesn't matter. And that movie is Die Hard. Die Hard is the staple action film of all time. I would say this is the best action film ever made. Closest probably would be, I don't know, Speed maybe. But this movie was pretty much, actually Speed is Die Hard on a bus. Under Siege is Die Hard on a battleship. All these movies ended up being imitators of Die Hard. That's why it's such a great action movie.
Derailed is Die Hard on a train.
No, that's Under Siege 2. But I guess it's another Die Hard on a train. It's Under Siege 3. So with Jean-Claude Van Damme. But no, Die Hard, what's so great about it is that John McClane is not your typical action hero who can easily beat up anybody, doesn't get harmed, and saves the day. No, this guy gets his ass whooped. There's scenes where he has glass under his feet, he's bloody. Towards the end of the film, this guy doesn't even look half of what he was at the beginning of the film, both emotionally and physically. And again, it shows you how great of an actor Bruce Willis is. Was. That's what I have to say. I want to say is because I think there's probably one day where he's gonna come back. I don't know. I saw the recent Death Wish movie directed by Eli Roth, and it's no different to any of his direct-to-video movies. Only difference is that he has perhaps a little more charisma, like a little bit. It's like he doesn't even give you the half smile. He gives you an 1/8 of that smile, and it's probably cost $1 million just to put that on screen. Guy's greedy as fuck. Look at him in Expendables 3. He wasn't in it because in Expendables 2, once he was done with that film and they offered him Expendables 3, he wanted twice the salary for 2 weeks of work. Stallone said fuck off and he gave it to Harrison Ford. Ended up losing it. But once upon a time, this guy made good movies. And here's a curious thing before I sign off. Once upon a time, not too long ago, I tried rocking the Bruce Willis look. Insert picture here. But didn't work out. But hey, I may not have the fame, may not have the money, but at least I'm not an asshole. So I'm Best Guy. This was Best Top 5. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that little little bell button so you can get all the notifications for these videos. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, hey, let me know what's your favorite Bruce Willis movie. Do you like Hudson Hawk as much as I do? Maybe? Leave it in the comment section. Anyway, guys, until next time. Bye.